Hi, welcome back. The rainy fall weather is finally here, and so I thought this would be a nice time to pull out some staples and just think about some of the basic things in my collection that will be nice to carry me into this season. And I hope that'll give you some inspiration for working with your own makeup that you have on hand. It was 90 degrees yesterday, so this is a little bit of whiplash, but that's sometimes that's how it goes. So for skin prep, I've done my usual moisturizer and sunscreen. I'm still using the same one that I have been for a little while, that I'm trying to, at this point, I'm just trying to use it until it's gone. Because it's worked nicely. I'll have the name in the description. So that's a good starting point. And then I thought I would, for my complexion products, make use of my Salt New York palette. This is just such an easy go-to thing to have. So if you haven't seen it before, I have the Sneaky Balm and Best Case Concealer from them in the lightest shade, which I think is N13. I'll double check and make sure I've got that in there. And then their bronzer in Taupe and the lip and cheek product in Rose. And these are really versatile in terms of how you apply them. You could absolutely just use your fingers. I find it also can work really nicely with a brush. So I have the Real Techniques, I think it's just foundation brush, Expert Face Brush. And I'm going to take just a little bit of the Sneaky Balm on the brush here. And then lightly brush it on. I have some redness here today, definitely. I think there's probably a variety of things that my skin could be aggravated about, including, wild temperature swings. And I'm just starting off with a really, really light coat, but we can build it up. As you can see just here, it's toned down the redness, but doesn't look like obvious coverage, which is why it's called Sneaky Balm. Because you really have a lot of control over that. And I find which brush and which application method I use makes quite a difference in terms of the coverage, which is also a really nice thing to have in terms of giving you a lot of control. And one of the other things that I'm really liking here just today is that it feels really nicely hydrating. And I could go further, but I think I'm going to just leave it like this for now, with some of the skin texture and color coming through. Just for me personally, high coverage kind of look isn't very appropriate for every day. I want my skin to look nicer, but still have the, that sense of that inner color. So that it's less obviously made up. But there we have some nice soft glow and just a little bit of that coverage. If I wanted to go further, I could use a sponge, especially like a more old school dense makeup sponge, or dry sponge could be really good for this. Or a different brush that maybe has a little bit more product that it's picking up. So from here, I think what I'll do is put a little bit of the concealer on my finger. And this is one where a little goes a long way in my experience. But I'm going to just really lightly dab it here under the eye, not so much for under eye darkness, but the redness that I tend to get around the side of the nose here. And just use my finger to blend it in. And again, just softening up some details. So also put a little bit here where have a little bit of some blemishes, I think. Kind of the same thing in these other spots. And had another round of allergies, I think. The area around my nose is showing it. So there's that. Kind of take a look on the bigger mirror and see if there's anything else I'd like to touch up. Like the bridge of my nose. All right, let's go with that. And then I think I could make use of the bronzer from this, or the other thing that I was thinking about is the Rare Beauty bronzer stick. I have this in the shade Bright Side. I think I'm going to start with this, and then maybe I'll fill in a little bit more from the Salt New York palette if it looks like I need a little bit more dimension. I think both of these are fairly cool tones, though. I feel like I need to sharpen it. It has lost its pointiness, but I can use the edge. So I'm just going to draw it here, kind of really on the, not the top, but sort of the middle of the cheekbone. And just a little bit here, and maybe a little bit here under the chin. And I think my usual blending brush is dirty right now. I forgot to wash it. So I'm actually going to take the foundation brush and just wipe it off on a washcloth and then use that for blending. So why not start at the top? Get it up into the hairline. Really just counteracts the paleness that tends to happen right along here where my hair is. I think I got a little too far into the under eye there. That's all right, we can work with it. I guess since I've done that, I can bring it forward a little bit more into the blush zone. And then when I do blush, I'll blend into it. I'm tempted to put a little bit more on, but I think actually that means it's a great moment to try the other one. Just wipe my brush off again. That's one thing I noticed with the Real Techniques brush, that the fibers that it has clean up pretty easily just with a cloth. I can get a little bit on the brush and then I'll stipple it here. Guess we're going a little dramatic today. That's fine. Dramatic and not the most precise, but I'm hoping that that means as everything comes together, I can get a little bit softer look. I may have to go back over with some Sneaky Balm. Yeah, I think I'll do that right now, just because I don't like how far under the eye this has come. But this is why we practice. Let's see if I can lighten that up. And A little bit on the same. Not sure if that's better or not. Let's move on to blush. For blush, I thought why not grab something a little bright. So I have the Tower 28 Beach Please in Happy Hour. And I'm going to take this e.l.f. Putty blush brush and use that to put a little bit here on sort of the roundest part of my cheek. You can see this brush can pick up a lot of color. And lightly, oh so lightly, we are going rosy. A little bit more of a coquette kind of thing going. Let's take a little bit of color off the brush. But sometimes I find that getting into something that's brighter helps sort of, it can sometimes help tone down the appearance of the overall redness of my face just by not bringing in a contrasting tone, but shifting the color dimension a little. Though right now I just think I look extremely flushed. And yet I'm going to put a little bit on my nose here where, yes, I did remove redness earlier. It's a process. I don't love that little bit's come through. I've been noticing a little bit of a surge in the red tip of the nose trend, which I think is a super interesting direction. I think the idea is that it's meant to sort of make the nose seem smaller and cuter. I'm not sure that it's one that I'm going to try. My nose is not so small. So now I am blushed, flushed, and I've blended into the bronzer in a way I'm hoping kind of preserves the dimension of it without getting muddy. It seems like I have more on this side of everything, and I'm not sure how that happened. I didn't bring a sponge today, so I don't have the easiest way to clean it up. I just guess I can take this. I think all I'm managing to do at that point though is remove product. A little bit more sneaky balm, and if that doesn't work, I'll powder. Okay, yeah, that's better. Now the next question is, am I even vaguely symmetrical? I don't think so. I think this side is pinker than the other. It's possible I started that way. Alright, I think instead of risking making things worse by continuing to add layers, I'm just gonna call that good enough. I guess I'm pink and flushed from chilly weather today. Let's tone that down too. I haven't even done my brows. I think I'll go with a tinted brow gel to help with the overall level of polish. And so I have the e.l.f. Wow Brow tint in Taupe. We'll just quick do that. Also somehow not symmetrical. Okay, there's that. And for eye makeup, I was thinking I'd make use of this e.l.f. palette. What's it called? Naked, something like Prism. But it has these sort of semi-translucent neutral tones that I think are nice and useful for this kind of thing. I'm going to swatch a couple on the back of my hand because I kind of forget. I think a couple of these lean a slightly different color than they look in the pan. So looking at the middle two shades here, I can see that the one that looks pinkish is actually kind of a rose gold sort of sparkle, and the other one is quite a bit warmer, which would show up more, but let's look at the last two colors. So odd, you know, some of them show up a lot more than others, and under the lights it's a little hard to see the details, but I will show you and you probably won't be able to see what I'm actually pointing to, but we have this, which is the second to last pan, and then this next to it is the last pan, and I think I'll go ahead and use this one. It comes with one of these very classic sponge tip applicators, which I seem to have experimented with at some point, but I don't think that's going to be very precise. And I have this fairly large fluffy brush from the Katie Jane Hughes Spectrum collection, and I think I'm going to give this a try and just see if I can do a nice soft wash of color. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Tipping my head to get into the folds of the lower lid. And I'll bring it up here. Make sure it's nice and visible. Blend it in. Make sure that things are kind of evened out. That's a nice, easy little bit of sparkle, and I'd like to go a little bit deeper along the lash line, so I'm going to go see if I can grab another eyeshadow to add to this, just to make sure that when I add mascara, it doesn't sometimes without anything there, the mascara makes my eyelashes look worse, and so yeah, so I want to give it a little bit more heft. Alright, I think I'm going to go with this e.l.f. palette that I was a little underwhelmed with when I was trying it out. It's the Perfect 10 eyeshadow in one of the neutral sets. I'll go check my notes from before. I remember that the darkest shades aren't really that dark. I think that's part of why I was so about it. That might be just enough for what I need. Yeah. I'm just getting a little bit darker right here. And I guess I'm in the market for just a little neutral palette that has better color payoff. I know Urban Decay re-released their Naked palette. I'm curious about that. It's not really in my budget right now, but maybe I should consider it when I can. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more shimmer back in, kind of out on this edge. Also to sort of deepen the outer corner. That'll have to do. And for you, I'm going to edit it down, so you'll miss most of the back and forth while I try to figure this out. So let's just quick do some mascara. For mascara, I'm trying to get some more use out of the Cali come hell or high water before I have to toss it. The slow pace that I use mascara doesn't really cooperate very well with the actual length of time that they're safe to use, unfortunately. But this is one that I would buy again. It's a tubing mascara. It's just pretty easy to work with. and it gives me just enough volume. Ooh, got a little too much on that outer end. I don't know if this is exactly the makeup look I had in mind when I started out today, but that's okay. Then to finish, I was thinking that a nice neutral lipstick would be a good touch. So I grabbed my Merit lipstick, the original satin formula. I think that's what it's called. This is the shade 1990. And so just a nice basic brown. But sometimes that's exactly what I want. Just gonna soften that line, especially here along the kind of the lower end of the lip. All right, I think that'll work for today. If you've watched this far, then thank you so much for being here with me on today's makeup journey. I am really interested in hearing about what sorts of things that you're thinking about or trying, with your makeup, what might help you make better use of your own collection. And I have some ideas for more dramatic makeup looks, but I knew today with my energy level that I kind of just wanted to stick with something core that hopefully I could bring back, on the rails if it started to go a little strange. And I think I succeeded in that, where it's all come together. If you haven't subscribed yet, then I hope you will. My posting schedule is going to be a little bit erratic while I have some other things that I'm working on, but new videos will keep coming when I can. And with that, I'll just say thank you and take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye.